Welcome to another Finnish gear reviews video. Today I will be providing an overview of the first episode of the new Finnish show Konflikti or Conflict. Directed by Louhimies, who is well known for previously directing the movie Unknown Soldier. So this show starts off in the city of Hanko, or Hangö, which is the southernmost city in Finland. It is strategically very important because it's a very short distance over the Gulf of Finland to Estonia. If you're interested in about some war history that played out near Hangö, this is Binge-watch, which is a lighthouse island right here. And there is a very good book called The Battle of Binge-watch by Patrick Berghel that you can check out. As you can see here, it's only about 40 miles over from Hangö to Estonia, so capturing Hangö and possibly the other side would virtually cut off the Gulf of Finland for any NATO warships attempting to threaten St. Petersburg. And here we are going to get introduced to some of the main characters. Annika Berg and her men, and Captain Ohrankämmen. Along for the ride we have this American major who has been described as the major from Timu. I don't know a lot about American uniforms, but this one does not look correct. They also mention one of the Americans who is in Annika Berg's unit. I assume he's going to be playing a major role later on. And some of the non-military people here we have, this is the President Linnea Saaristo, which is based on our previous Prime Minister. Furthermore, we also get to meet the current Prime Minister of Finland. Let's get to the premise of the show. Soldiers of an unknown nation, Russia, drop airborne troops over Hangö while simultaneously there are cargo ships from Venezuela that are unloading military equipment at the port. Our heroes start realizing that something's wrong, so Annika Berg is on the beach and she sees the paratroopers dropping from the sky. Meanwhile, Captain Ohrankämmen and the major from Timu, they're driving back from the exercise and there is a truck that is completely blocking the only road going into Hangö. The first confirmation that something is actually really going wrong is one of Annika Berg's soldiers approaches one of the paratroopers on the beach trying to identify who they are, and he gets shot, leading to her unit fleeing into the forest. Meanwhile, we have Captain Ohrankämmen. He's seen enough red flags that something's up, so he takes his truck and the AMV IFV to head back to Syndalen, which is the training area. Now the premise has been set, an enemy is occupying Hangö and Finland has to do what it can to push them out. And that is what we're going to be following the rest of this season. So what else can you expect from this episode? Well, you'll be able to see some cool Finnish military equipment. And you're going to see Annika Berg and her men trying to navigate the new reality. Getting armed up.
Why would you take a bazooka?
And trying to stay alive. At the end, you're also going to see some of the important landmarks in Hangö. That's the Maritime Pilot Station, the water tower in Hangö, and here you can see the Church of Hangö, and in the background you can see the port and the library. So my review, I'd give this a solid 8 out of 10. What I don't like about this is the major from Timu, as Aku Saarilainen has described him. Again, I'm not an expert in US uniforms, but it doesn't really look right. Even the multicam I felt like looked a little odd. He's being a bit too American, I guess. The Somali character is also a bit annoying in the first episode, with his aggressiveness and the facial expressions, but it's also kind of believable. What I do like about this is that the scenario is realistic with a 2014 Crimean type of a takeover. They're wearing Finnish uniforms, using Finnish equipment to kind of create doubt and chaos. The equipment is on point since Varustelleka and the Finnish Defense Forces have been assisting heavily in making this show. I also like that they introduce you to a character that then later on gets killed off, which is a very typical Nordic Finnish thing to do in movies and series. Peter Franzen's character, the captain, is also very believable. They also show that not everyone has what it takes, and you see some people surrendering to the Russian troops. And this also very nicely shows the fog of war with no communication, and they also show the lead up to this with people cutting communication cables and such.
1,000 feet or below to sea surveillance mission. Entering Finnish territorial waters in 6 minutes and submerging. 120. Come in, stop 1. Raven 6 and 7, happy. 120.
Hello, and welcome to another Finnish Gear Reviews video. Today we're going to take a look at Konflikti Season 1, Episode 2. In this episode, we are going to get an overview of the situation on Hankoniemi, Hango Peninsula. We're going to get introduced to a few new characters, and we are also going to see the political side of this conflict. Okay, so let's take a look.
Merivoimien valmiusyksiköt ja maakuntakomppania ovat eristäneet Hankoniemen.
So this is a map of Hankoniemi right now, and I'm going to explain what each of these symbols mean. So first up we have some captured soldiers, so POWs here. These are regular infantry units. This is mechanized infantry. Next up we have 3 units of airborne infantry, and these are roadblocks here. On the Finnish side we can see a infantry unit, military police, regular civilian police, and some type of a special operations unit up here. And if you pay close attention to the red line here cutting the Hango Peninsula in two, right to the east of it is Nylands Brigade, Uudenmaan Brigati. What these symbols don't show is the size of these units, which would make sense since the situation is quite new, so they may not have that information. And a big thank you to Aku Saarelainen and Mika Mäenpää for explaining 2 of these symbols that I did not recognize. This is the president getting briefed by the military high command, and she's been notified that there's also an unusual amount of movement on our eastern border. Who's on the other side of that border? Well, it's Russia. She's being notified that we should implement the Finnish version of martial law. And this is where we're going to take some time to blame the military for this failure. Anyways, surely our American allies will have our back in this situation, right?
At this point, we have to consider it a local matter.
Article 5 clearly states that...
Do not trigger it.
Oh, okay, never mind then.
Do not trigger it.
Okay, so let's see what the Prime Minister thinks. Surely he wants to fertilize the Hanko Peninsula with Russian corpses, right? Never mind, he actually wants to speak with them and negotiate. He kind of reminds me of some current politicians we have. Pictures unrelated. So let's see what Captain Ohrankämmen is up to. He's made it to Hanko City. He used to live here with his now ex-wife, their old house. And this is interesting. The occupying forces are telling everyone to come in and register their firearms. I would assume that they would just raid the police station and get all that information from there. But since nowadays I am an American citizen, so all I have to say is come and take it. He meets up with some of the local militia people here in Hanko.
We served together. Used to be neighbors.
Shout out to Ukraine. They're doing a little bit of recon to see what type of troop concentrations we have there. And oh shit, is that an S-400 or S-300 launcher? And in this scene we have Amanda, the Ukrainian. She is going to confront a fake reporter. And this is kind of a mask-off scene where she speaks Russian.
Но тут в Ханко чрезвычайная ситуация. А кто объявил чрезвычайную ситуацию? Но оно не закончится так, как вы этого хотите. Fuck you!
Alright, so let's check out what Major Brady is up to. They're still manning the checkpoint over here. His beard keeps growing.
Sure, seems random.
He really should have shaved before he headed out to the field.
Let's get back to base.
Not exactly sure why he is asking the questions from the evacuated civilians.
I'm here observing and assessing the current situation. Now I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. You all feeling physically okay today?
Yeah. Yes.
Alright, meanwhile, while this is all going on, let's check in on Batty and her guys. Coming up to a checkpoint, checking it out.
Create chaos on our side. Slow down our response. They can't have the whole area under surveillance. Surely we can get out through the woods.
We need to find another way.
Alright, let's look for shelter.
Or look for shelter.
Here we go. Nice little cabin, very typical Finnish cabin. Surely everything's gonna be okay here. Oh, someone's knocking on the door. We switched clothes. I don't know if this is a war crime or not, technically, but hey, we're defending, so who cares?
Could you please read this?
I'll try not to provide any spoilers.
I'm here alone. It's an empty cabin.
Yes, I need to search your cabin.
Okay, end of the episode, last scenes. Our little militia guys. They see some of the local police. They've gotten captured by the occupiers. And they think they should do something about it. Oh yeah, I won't do anything stupid. And this is where I'll leave you. We'll pick this back up next week for episode 3. This episode, I liked it. We saw more of the political point of view on this conflict. A little bit of action, a whole bunch of sneaking around. Probably next episode we'll see some more battles. At least I hope so. See you next week. Episode 3. So we're gonna open up with some cool footage of the Jägers taking over a captured ship.
Finish defense forces! Show me a hand!
Captain Ohrankämmen is packing his things to get out before the Russians show up. Since his militia buddies got killed or captured in the last episode.
What are you doing here?
And then he surrenders?
What you doing here?
I hope he's got a plan.
A surrender.
Rouva presidentti.
This episode is pretty heavy on the politics.
Venäjän laivasto.
Here the president's notified that combat units from Kaliningrad are on the way towards Finland.
Kohti Suomea.
Russia is ready to send troops to Finland to help us with responding to this attack. And of course, the EU is very concerned about the situation. Here, meeting with the US ambassador.
Thank you for showing up on such a short notice.
Always at your service, Madam President.
Finland is under
Again,
attack, and this
the
is
US
phase
doesn't
1.
give a shit.
How shall I put this, Madam President? From our perspective, this is still a local dispute.
Yes. And that
And the
is
Prime
why
Minister wants to
I have
pursue more
emphasized the
negotiations.
importance of a diplomatic approach.
I don't remember asking you a goddamn thing.
I'm sorry, but I really don't have time for this. I think we're done.
The president pulls a Zelensky and gets out of civilian clothing. The PM goes on TV without telling the president, telling the Finnish population that we are negotiating.
Miten näin on päässyt tapahtumaan?
Homman eskalaatio.
Then he gets reprimanded by the president.
Älä sä lässytä mulle siitä, mitä mä ymmärrän ja mitä en. Me ollaan poikkeusoloissa ja silloin ei tehdä politiikkaa.
Meanwhile, the occupiers reach out and let us know about their demands. They want to rent Hanko. Wonder who they got the
The
inspiration
Prime
from.
Minister was wise to offer diplomacy as a way to solve this
They
situation.
also claim that the militia
But
guys were committing war
the
crimes,
Finnish military
yet they're
has
occupying
conducted
Hanko
an
without any
operation in the
national
area.
symbols.
This
So that's
operation
interesting.
was conducted by soldiers in civilian clothes. That in itself is a war crime.
Become essential that no Finnish or NATO
And here we
troops
have
enter
the
area.
defense
I have
attaché
just sent
revealing
reconnaissance
details about
teams.
Private
Pull them
Williams.
back. Get them out. There's a high-profile U.S. citizen trapped inside.
Whom?
Turns out he's
Private
Mike
Williams.
Johnson's grandson.
He's the Speaker of the House's grandson.
Batty and her unit find a Sisu GTP, and they're immediately spotted and chased by a posse. Osman shoots it with an anti-tank weapon. Then they escape and find a house, while a family still lives there.
Put the gun down! Who are you?
Älskling. Skulle ändå vara bättre om vi håller dem undan igen då.
And thankfully, they decide to hide them in the attic. And here we have the Uttisov guys move onto some of the islands outside of Hanko to install a sub-Sirius device.
Sirius pystyy.
While a Yas Gripen and a Navy vessel attract the Russians' attention.
Sam's defeated. Backing up. Tykistellä maali. Tykistö torjuu.
Tykki ampuu, huomio.
Kakkonen ampuu.
Mittain silputa.
Mittain silputtaa suuntaan 010.
Ohjelmo, väistö itään.
Yes.
And finally, we have a new mystery character that's revealed. Some kind of
I'm
mastermind.
gonna make sure it succeeds.
My thoughts on the episode. We got some cool shots of the Navy ship and the Gripen. The chase on the beach with the Osman shooting the posse. You know, that's absolute cinema. I also like the political parts. The PM is incredibly annoying. And I've seen lots of people on Twitter talk about how he's not a believable character. I completely disagree. I feel like we have plenty of politicians who would love nothing more than to just appease any Russian occupation. Just look at how cowardly some politicians are regarding arming Ukraine in fear of some escalation. And in that case, they are not even directly involved in the conflict. So that's that for episode 3. Looking forward to episode 4. I have no idea what to expect. This episode is mainly going to be about the special forces sneaking around Hanko, so stay until the second half of the video because that's where we're going to get started on that. We're going to check in on Batty, see what they're up to. We're still playing with the radio, trying to connect to the network. It's got no signal.
3 hours later.
And it would appear that the Russians were able to pinpoint that someone is trying to connect the radio from this house.
Are you Mr. Revan?
Yes.
We have been picking up radio signals from this area. Do you have a radio?
No.
We have to search this house.
So it's time to go. We got the Prime Minister sneaking around the back of the President once again, heading off to the countryside to meet with the mystery man that we met last episode.
Marty, how are you, my friend?
He is some kind of fixer for the Russians.
No apologies. Thank you for showing your interest. We need you, please. You get this
And the Prime
ratified.
Minister has to head back to get the
I
government
will
to sign
do
some papers to rent the Hanko
must be
Peninsula.
done. Good.
Give my best wishes to your president.
If he can stay alive, that is. I assume this is the Russians trying to kill him in order to frame the president, saying that, hey, you had the Prime Minister wanting to negotiate, the Finnish government killed him, so now Russia probably would have to do a full-scale invasion. Our friend Major Brady still just manning this checkpoint here.
We always do everything by the book.
And yes, everything is done by the book, always.
Because my friend is over there. I'm gonna find him. Even if I fucking die. Are you willing to die?
And that's a very good question for any reservist to think about. Are you ready? Okay, so Captain Ohrankämmen, he surrendered last episode. Now he's kind of just walking into the Hanko casino.
No, I'm just looking
I
for my relatives.
don't really understand what's going on here, but he kind of sneaks off because he wants to extract his daughter and ex-wife. Yet they seem to think that everything is fine. Who cares? Life goes on.
Ei tarvi olla huolissaan. Meistä pidetään täällä ihan hyvää huolta.
The Russians catch up with him again. I guess he shouldn't have snuck off. Disarms the guy easily. He gets to leave without his daughter and ex-wife. Don't drop the gun. Ah, shit. Alright, time to go. Alright, our friendly American defense attaché
You can tell Madam Speaker that we are working on a plan
wants
to
to
safely get out
extract Private Williams.
and 9,000 others, including my sister-in-law and her family.
We have a special forces team in place to extract Private Williams.
Don't do anything. I'll take care of this.
Alright, now to the good part of the show. So we got the Utti Jaegers sneaking around, taking care of the drunk locals. And let's just enjoy watching them move around. I think the actors did a really good job. I'm sure they've all done their military service, but they did have military trainers on set, so their movements are looking really good. There's always something you can criticize about. I saw some rooms that they got into. The number 2 man should have followed a lot closer, but overall, it looks good. And looking good is, after all, the most important part. Alrighty, so they have made it to their target building. I saw a lot of people were a little confused about that. Hey, what actually are these guys up to over here? They're kind of just aimlessly wandering, sneaking around. So I partially agree. It was not clear what they're up to here as they were going, but now it's starting to become clear that, okay, they're actually here to map out some of the electronic warfare equipment that the enemies set up, possibly take it out. And here they can see that the prisoners that the Russians have taken, they've just strapped them onto that radar container. And at this point the mission changes. They have just ID'd an officer, so this turns into a capture mission, which is convenient because the officer is heading straight for the building that they're hiding in.
Muuttu kiinniottotehtäväksi. Drop your weapon! Stop!
Alrighty, the situation is up. The sniper's gonna get some action.
Ammukko valmis.
This guy doesn't know the difference between cover and concealment. He thought it was cover, turns out it was concealment. Alright, and here we have the officer. And they're really tossing that guy around. Have to extract the targets.
Reitti vapaa.
This seems to be a better wall, so that's actually cover, not just concealment. Okay, and they're gonna bring the target through the tunnels the same way they came in. They're gonna move him out. And this is where the sniper team is kind of fucked. That's BMP. Alright, the two guys that kind of got separated from the rest of the pack, they just have to head out. Not an ideal situation. And I bet the civilians were hoping that they'd be able to be freed, but unfortunately, the Jaegers just have to bail. So that was the episode. Overall thoughts, loved the special forces action. Really liked their movement, the way they were clearing rooms, the shooting scenes were nicely done. Especially, you know, the whole cover versus concealment scene. Sometimes you see in movies where there's a Netflix movie where Chris Hemsworth, he's taking cover behind a ladder. So I do enjoy the fact that in this one it's like, hey, that's a thin wall. He took cover behind it, so we're just gonna shoot him through the wall. It's a nice touch. And clearly shows that the show creators know what they're doing and that they had good advisors on the set as well. Furthermore, the plot kind of thickens with the Prime Minister. He's out there negotiating behind the back of the president, almost gets assassinated. I assume we're gonna find out in the next episodes who is behind the assassination attempt, but I think it's the Russians just trying to frame the president. But yeah, solid episode. Can't wait for episode 5. The bad part is that we only have episode 5 and 6 left, and then we'll have to wait for season 2. So I will be sad, but great episode. Look at Conflicti season 1 episode 5. We're gonna have the episode opening up with some cool cinematic footage of just different military assets. And here we're going to see what the situation currently is in Hanko and what the counter-assault plan is for the Finnish military. So we're gonna have some coastal Jaegers coming in from the east. There is going to be a mechanized company and I believe 2 infantry companies coming in from the northeast and the north. There's also some supporting artillery, as you can see here, all the way there to the east, as well as to the west. And then there are a few different soft elements here on the map as well. Furthermore, the Navy has mined all the strategic paths to Hanko, so they are unable to reinforce the Russians over there by water. They've also noticed that the enemy does have some caliber missiles in Hanko, and they are most likely attempting to launch a false flag attack on Russia, forcing Russia to enter into Finland. And this, of course, is something that the Russians have done to us previously. They did that with the Mainilan laukaukset, so the shelling of the town of Mainila right before they started the Winter War. So nothing new when it comes to handling our neighbor to the east. Okay. Okay, Captain Ohrankämmen, he is going to make it to the house where Batty and her men were hiding out. Luckily doesn't get shot, and he's got a plan on how to get them out of there.
Well done.
Can't somebody else also find those coordinates?
Yes, someone else can find them, and in matter of fact, they were already found in the previous episode.
Fast, fast, fast!
We're gonna see if Osman knows how to drive a boat. Ohrankämmen takes a pretty difficult shot. Usually those drones don't stay stationary. Alright, got some good boat action being chased by 2 Russians. Oh, as a lifelong boater, this really hurts. That propeller is gone. Just a side note, I don't think it would be possible for them to get these Yehu boats. There are way too few of them in existence for the Russians to have 2 of them. Alright, and they're disembarking some infantry from the boats, so they're gonna get chased. And here we see that clearly they want Williams. I'm gonna get a nice archipelago gunfight here. Unfortunately, Osman's been captured and Williams got shot. They're surrounded, so they don't really have a choice here other than to surrender.
He's a prisoner of war.
He's American. He's from a rich and powerful family.
So they know that Williams, he's got a tracker somewhere. And I guess it's right behind his ear.
Money, power, whatever.
And, well, that's getting removed. And as they walk down here, we're gonna meet some of the old characters that we remember from episode 1. There's that guy that got shot first on the beach. And also, someone we thought was dead. Batty's boyfriend. He's saying that you left me, but that's not fair. I mean, they had no choice. Alright, so Ohrankämmen, he's made it to the militia hideout. That's where he stashed all his gear previously.
Stop.
You told them my location.
No,
And she's here as well, the Ukrainian lady.
I would never do that.
Bullshit.
They killed Stefu. And Yaska. Where have you been?
Are you gonna shoot me?
So they gear up and head into town to help their friends. And this is my favorite scene in the whole episode. This old Finnish-Swedish gentleman who thought they were Russians. He's armed with his little pistol. And it reminds me of my grandpa. So I really enjoy that scene.
Follow me. Another way.
I'll cover you, go.
This is one of the things that's not nice about close quarters battle, is that you can run into your enemy at any point. Very rare to actually have hand-to-hand combat, but it does happen at times, but rare.
They've heard us. Let's move.
They heard you? You think so? Alright, we're gonna check in with the soft guys, how they're doing. The large part of the group, they were able to get out with the prisoner. And they also have an injured guy that they're evacuating.
Tahtokaa jatkoa. Ei jää tähän.
Elsa paikannettu.
Then we had 2 guys that got left behind. They were following this radar device, and they're now seeing all the hostages around it. This is the family from the first episode. It is the president's husband's wife and family that they placed right next to this device, which is unfortunate because for the Finnish military to take over Hanko, they do have to destroy all of these devices.
Iceman, Vicent 1, continue capping.
And the Air Force is about to start their attack.
Confirming targets. Targets 1 to 5 active. Stand by for launch.
They're being told that they should leave the area because the airstrike is coming.
Me voidaan vaarata tehtävää.
Ne uhraa noi siviilit ja noi lapset.
They're not about to leave all these civilians.
Valmistaudutaan poistumaan alueelta. Omat vangit uhrataan.
Mä menen tonne.
Right now I don't have a whole lot of commentary, so we can just sit here and watch and enjoy.
Don't shit! I surrender! Hey! Helena!
Vihollinen eliminoitu.
-2, tuu pois sieltä.
Hey, I got you.
Iceman, Vicent 1, attack as planned. That's confirmed.
45.
Run to the building! Yeah, keep on going!
Kun jumalauta pois sieltä.
And mission accomplished.
5 times splash naked. Bombit kohteella. Vicent 1, reference 010 RTP.
Awaiting confirmation. 1, 2, 3, 4. Kohteet 1-4 tuhottu.
All targets destroyed, and the president assumes that her sister-in-law and family are all dead. Thank you for watching this review. I enjoyed the episode, and that is it. More to come next week. Thank you for watching. Things happening here since they're trying to tie up all the plot lines, so we'll be kind of jumping from one thing to the other. We're going to start off here with the Finnish soldiers that had been captured by the Russians in the earlier episodes. One of the soldiers here that was forced to participate in making kind of a hostage video is starting to crack under the pressure. And the other soldier here that also had to be on the video is kind of rationalizing that, you know, we did what we had to do, but our parents are going to be very disappointed in us. Which probably are valid feelings for soldiers in that situation, but I doubt your parents would be that disappointed in you if you turn into a POW. And we're gonna get about 5 seconds of coastal Jaeger action, which I always appreciate as a coastal Jaeger myself. And here we have the president in the command post, kind of demanding answers, a little antsy about how the counterattack is going. The military guys are just letting her know that we're just observing, just take it easy. And here we have a Finnish mechanized assault. We got Major Brady rigging up his GoPro. He gets to participate.
Now breathe.
I saw on Twitter the people that actually know about mechanized assault said that the distances are too short here between the vehicles, but in the interest of making the show, I think it had to be a little bit tighter to get everything on there. And Major Brady commits a war crime, executing an injured soldier. Here with this soldier getting severely injured, Lieutenant Kiiskinen goes into something called an acute stress reaction, also known as shell shock, even though it's not being called that anymore. Major Brady doesn't exactly handle it the way you're supposed to handle it. I'm gonna link here a video from the Norwegian Defense Forces on how to actually handle that if someone goes into this type of a shock. So I think Kiiskinen is still kind of recovering from that shock. And here we see one of the Russian operated BMPs, and then a Finnish artillery strike comes in and kind of handles the situation. I think Major Brady's ears would be ringing at this point.
They're making a run for it.
Okay, so we got the Russians there putting on civilian clothing and kind of getting out of there. So we have Captain Orhankämmen. He's trying to get into this building in order to save the Finnish soldiers and his friends. I'm gonna get some good violence of action from the captain. And another hand-to-hand combat situation. In the previous episode, he also had to fight hand-to-hand with someone, and I made a comment that it's actually very rare to see that in modern combat. And then literally 48 hours after that, there was a GoPro camera footage from Ukraine where there was a actual knife fight. So my comments aged poorly. Orhankämmen finds the soldiers.
Joo, kädet pitäisi saada vapaaksi.
Heitä puuko. Sä tuut hännillä.
Batty wants to go and help Williams, but he tells her that, listen, we need to get all of you out of here first. But Batty kind of has another idea, and she's gonna go out on a little solo mission to find Williams. And she sees them as they're loading him up on a truck. And then we'll just make a run for it to the truck.
We're stopping, we're stopping.
Keep your hands where I can see them. Step away from me. Hands up. Move away.
And get saved by our Ukrainian sniper. Alright, so Orhankämmen, he's kind of stopping here to try to find a route for them to get out. And gets caught in an ambush. Unfortunately, the other conscripts, they're a little bit in a shock. Osman here is able to act, I think, because he now has some combat experience under his belt. And Batty's boyfriend makes a run for it to evacuate Orhankämmen, but unfortunately gets shot. And in the background you can hear that he doesn't have a pulse. So I think it's safe to assume at this point that he is now actually dead. At this point, we're back at HQ, notifying the president that the Hanko downtown has been retaken. And now we're going to see some news footage from there.
Stars contested by Finland and NATO, who have condemned the actions of the occupiers. They have announced this.
And here's some foreign tourists in Hanko that have been captured.
Tää vaikuttaa olevan johtamispaikka. Väittää olevansa turisteja.
And he comments that they are very militant-looking tourists.
Welcome to Finland. Initially reported as nearly bloodless, the 4-day occupation turned deadly as the Finnish Defense Forces' countermeasures led to at least 120 casualties, including...
So this is very interesting. I feel like this is the type of language that a lot of news also use regarding the war in Ukraine, where they're almost placing the blame on the Finnish Defense Forces for all the deaths here, even though we had a foreign force occupying Hanko. So they're just expecting Finland to take it and not do anything, and any deaths would be on Finland. And here we can see the special operations soldier that was helping the hostages escape from that piece of equipment that got bombed in the last episode, unfortunately passed away.
Additionally, several non-Finnish citizens, primarily tourists in the area, during the incident have been reported missing or deceased.
And here's the American Embassy in Helsinki. I've been there one time when I went for my green card interview.
If the Swedes hadn't stopped the Russian naval fleet and the missiles, we would all be at war. The Russians would have sacrificed the mercenaries in Hanko.
And again, we have the Americans here being a little wishy-washy, thinking that we should have just negotiated, not being good allies.
On our Prime Minister.
Your Prime Minister wasn't a part of our agenda.
Who made the attempt?
The consensus in the global arena is that you did, Madam President.
What do you think?
I think you're a very capable individual.
And here we're back at Utti, where the special operations soldier that passed away is being carried in a casket. And next up, we're also going to see some of the military burial traditions, which thankfully are very rare in Finland. And this is a Finnish special operations tradition called pirunmalja, the devil's toast. I'll leave a Twitter thread in the description to explain it.
Repunkannosta.
And repunkannosta means for carrying a backpack, because in the end, that's what soldiers do. Back to Ohrankämmen. He's wounded but alive at the hospital, getting visits from two of his buddies, and finally also his daughter. And after this, we're kind of gonna see how life just goes back to normal. Osman on the Helsinki metro, probably dealing with PTSD, forgetting to get his ticket for the metro, and then getting ticketed by the controllers. And here we see Hanko, life is back to normal. This is the statue where that Ukrainian lady confronted the so-called journalist. And we kind of see how everything just goes back to normal afterwards.
You like it?
Pretty much the best thing that I've ever
No, Ohrankämmen is a big fan of Ukrainian borscht soup.
I'm learning.
Mm-hmm. Kiitos paljon. Teille.
And he's just thanking them for everything.
Näin. Slava Ukraini.
Heroin slava.
Jos sä et olisi ollut presidentti, mitä sä olisit sillä?
And we're gonna get the final scene of season 1, where Barry wants to know. They get to meet the president, and she wants to know what happens next.
Vihollinen. Ja myös teistä. Mitä tapahtuu seuraavaksi?
Me valmistaudutaan uuteen konfliktiin.
And the answer is we're getting ready for another conflict.
Lähitulevaisuudessa. Uhkaa ei ole hävinnyt minnekään.
The threat has not disappeared. And that is it for Conflict Season 1. A very interesting show. Very happy that we're actually now able to make these types of shows. Prior to joining NATO, I don't think it was possible for us to actually make this type of media because we were too concerned about not upsetting Russia. Because, you know, hey, it's our big neighbor to the east and we're all alone, so we don't even want to have this type of stuff. No one would have funded this. No one would have published it. But now we actually can publish this. My thoughts on Season 1. I think they leave Season 1 off at a good spot to continue into Season 2 to maybe even get a larger conflict. Because usually how these things happen, you have kind of like this gray area where, you know, like again, if we're looking at what happened in Ukraine in 2014, you had people without any type of flags occupy Crimea, and then we had almost a decade of this. I mean, everyone knew that it's Russia, but it's this, the separatists, the Russian separatists or Russian-speaking separatists that want independence, and then after a decade you get the full-scale invasion. So this is kind of following the same playbook. We got to see a lot of really cool equipment. A huge thank you to the Finnish Defense Forces for being there, supporting this show, to actually give them the equipment to use for the show, operate the equipment, also to give them the necessary training so that the soldiers actually are doing things the way they are supposed to be doing them. It's a show, so not everything is done exactly correct, because you need drama. Some of the characters still are annoying. The Americans are very annoying partners in this. The Prime Minister, with him placating the Russians, wanting to negotiate, also very annoying, but unfortunately also realistic. We have had politicians throughout history that are very Russia aligned and just think that, hey, we shouldn't be supporting Ukraine and we shouldn't be doing this and that, and we just need to be good buddies with them no matter what they're doing. Same thing with the Americans. If we're looking at Jake Sullivan with his escalation management regarding Ukraine, I believe this is exactly what we would have seen from him. Hey, it's a small conflict, it's just Hanko, why don't we just negotiate, rent out Hanko, no big deal, no need to, get a large-scale conflict going that can lead to nukes. So yeah, those are kind of my thoughts. I've really enjoyed watching this show, and I really hope for a Season 2. Thank you for the whole team, the director, the writers, the actors, of putting their effort into this. I'm hoping that there's going to be international success. I'm hoping that this video series has been helpful for people. I've seen a lot of people who are interested in the show, but because there's no subtitles in Swedish or English, I hope my videos have been able to provide a little bit of context so that if you then actually watch the show without understanding the Finnish parts, I've provided enough context for you to know what is going on. I'm going to be continuing. I'm going to continue publishing videos from Conflicti. There are different cool scenes that I'll make clips off of, but other than that, I'll continue making my reviews of Finnish tactical gear, and when we get any news on Season 2, I'll be on it. Thank you for watching.